So in today's video, what we're going to do is we're going to talk about the hands and arms, and we're going to talk about it in particularly in terms of what happens in that late downswing with the hands and arms to get the club on the back of the golf ball, because there seems to be a lot of uncertainty and a lot of golfers I meet are making one fundamental mistake. Let's get stuck into it. The thing that we see with all pros is by the time they come in towards this downswing position, when the club shaft is parallel towards the floor, we'll see the way the hands are opposite the trail thigh. Okay, and this is a good position. What happens from here to get to the back of the golf ball is a couple of things. Well, one of the things is that my hands are going to keep moving slightly further forward. Okay, now the other thing that's going to happen is an element of uncocking of the wrist. Now, to clarify, if that's a roughly straight line relationship here, this is known as a wrist cock, this is known as an uncocking motion. Okay, like so and like so. Now, what happens in the golf swing, and we can say through centripetal, centrifugal force, or just general movement, is that the uncocking motion will happen naturally. So you don't have to consciously think about it. However, I tend to see a lot of golfers down the range get into this position, and then they sort of go, oh, I've got to keep turning to get the club on the back of the ball. Not really. Just if you practice allowing the wrist to go straighter, so allow that wrist uncocking motion to happen, you'll start to notice the way the club gets closer to the ground, and you won't have as much sort of loss of confidence of having to do this, and you'll start to realise, oh, my wrists just literally straighten, and that helps the club get to the bottom of the floor. That will help in a big way. So here we are. I would say roughly let your hands, if you're practicing, go opposite your lead ankle, and then allow the club to drop so it's opposite your trail ankle, similar to what I'm doing here. Now, where we are, the club face is open relative to my target line, so it's pointing more in your direction than anything else. So we need to introduce an element of rotation to square the face. Okay, and those are the movements that are happening. I'm not saying they're happening literally like that. It's obviously progressive. My arm is progressively moving towards the lead side or towards the target side as it's uncocking, as it's rotating. I'm saying it's happened simultaneously, but those are the three movements which take the club from this position to the back of the golf ball like so. Now, then the question would be, well, pros look different, okay, and they do. Some pros, when they hit it, they look a little bit more like the club head overtakes the hands a little bit sooner. Other pros look like they keep the hands further forward. The reason for this isn't so much what the hands are doing, it's what the body's doing. So we have different degrees of openness with the body in the golf swing. So if I get back into this position, and I don't consciously rotate my chest very much, and I just allow that club to move onto the back of the ball, that would get me here, and then the club head would go through like this. This time, if I get into this position and I do the same wrist moves, but I keep turning my chest towards the target and my lower body more, can you see the way that it brings the club around more like so? Okay, so the more open I am, as I'm demonstrating here, the more my hands go forward. So theoretically, the less arm rotation that is required. Okay, so the more I open my body, the further it brings the club to the ball, but I still need arm rotation. The less I move my body, the more arm rotation I need to sort of square the face. And that's why we see some tour pros that look this way and we see some that look this way. I wouldn't force it either way. I think there'll be lots of you that are having lessons and working on your swing, and you probably know you need a blend of both, where you're trying to get your hands forward and rotate your chest, and I'll share the go-to drill that you want to be practicing as an absolute must. But what I'm trying to say is the reason why we see so many differings is because of the amount of openness that a tour pro would be at the point of impact. However, what I'm saying is they still need some rotation to square the face. Okay, so this rolling of this lead hand is absolutely key, and that's why whichever tour pro you look at, what you'll always see is coming into the pre-impact, the glove will generally be facing towards the camera, and by the time they hit it, then it'll obviously be facing towards the target, and that's due to an arm rotation. So you never want to forget that, and that's why this drill will work really well for you. But an alignment stick, you simply place the alignment stick so that a couple of feet is sticking out the other end like so. Now, big problem for amateurs is, as I've been referencing in this video, hands here. The problem is most amateurs aren't here, you're up here somewhere. This arm never moves close enough to the side of the body, doesn't get your hands forward enough in the first place. What's always interesting though, is when you start using an alignment stick, most amateurs do start to get the hands further forward, because obviously when you get your hands further forward, there's less likelihood that you're going to impale yourself in the rib cage. Now, when you're doing this drill, some golfers I've seen that I work with online, I've asked them to do this exercise and they'll go, oh yeah, I can do that, I've done it before. It's true. However, the way they do it is by sort of just spinning across it and pulling their arms in to make sure they don't hit themselves. That's not what we're looking for. This exercise is an arms exercise, not a body rotation exercise. Okay, so it's not successful to just do this, because all you're going to do is you're just going to hit it with an open face and the result's going to be rubbish. What you need to do is you need to bring your hands down, and then from here, like I said earlier, let the wrist uncock and rotate the arm. So when I hit it, can you see the way I keep my hands moving away from my body? Okay, so like I said earlier, rotation will happen, rotation will exist. Everybody rotates to some degree, but it's arms. See what I'm doing here? Okay, and you might notice, like on mine, the contact might not be great because, like I said, it's a really difficult exercise that you'll have to practice, but you're looking for this type of position, not this. And that's why this drill is a really, really good one. This is difficult, okay? These type of motion, changing this impact is really tricky. My other favourite one, if you don't like that, split handle. Take hold of the golf club, separate the fingers on this trail hand like so. And again, what I always tend to see with students is if you're somebody who kind of, gets here, then you'll notice the way this hand can't keep up. So this exercise is brilliant to hit some shots because, again, it gives you the feeling of, see what I'm doing, pushing that club through and getting those hands ahead of the golf ball. You need to do this to become a much better ball striker, and you need to understand how the wrists work. Like I said, the big thing that amateurs don't quite realise from here is that and that. If you can understand that your wrists do this and then your arm rotates, it should make a big difference to your ball striking. I'll see you soon.